notes for the public that's here. Just so you know, this isn't a public hearing. Is absent but with notice. Like to, if there's any additions or deletions. Seeing none, a motion to adopt.
I'll move.
Member Eichert moves. All in favor? We have before us minutes from August 13th, 2019 for review.
I'll move the minutes.
Okay. Just looking here, the side says September 10th, 2019 for unapproved. Sure the dates are right here. Agenda it says yeah. So for correction then, the minutes we're adopting is from September 10th. Motion still stand? Okay. All in favor? That's carried. So we'll move on to development permit applications. We have file number DP 2019-124, a home-based business type 3, cat boarding and fostering business.
Good morning.
You ready?
So this home-based business is located 4.5 miles southeast of the county office on a 160-acre ag general parcel. And the proposal is to operate a cat boarding and fostering facility with no more than 12 cats anticipated to be staying on site at any given time. Boarding services will be offered to accommodate cats when the owners are on vacation. Fostering will be short-term and done on a volunteer basis in conjunction with the sanctuary in Strathmore. The business will be operated by the landowners and in their absence, their children. The business will be entirely contained within an existing structure located on the property adjacent to the home, and it will have the pens and cages in it. Drop-off hours will be from 4 to 6 p.m. with drop-offs being estimated at 1 or 2 per week. The business will offer a pickup and drop-off service, so there will be little traffic generated as most cats will be picked up and dropped off at the sanctuary in Strathmore. Current land use bylaw definition for a kennel pertains only to dogs, so this permit doesn't fall within that definition. So that is why it is coming forward as a home-based business. And the thing, it's low in intensity, but the thing that puts it into a HBB3 is just that the use of an accessory building, which is only allowed in the HBB3. So staff are recommending approval on this application. There's the 3 options. Staff are recommending approval, and with these attached conditions. The permit is going to be issued for a 2-year term, which would expire on October 8th, 2021. And I'll just go through some of the mapping. So there's the location. Here's the county office. So it's east of the county office. There's the quarter section and the place where the dwelling and the accessory building is on site. That's site plan drawn. There's the building for the cats. It's outside of the CMRB area, outside of any area structure plans or IDPs. This was the circulation area within 1 mile. There was no responses. That's the existing building for housing of the cats. And that is everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. Any questions, concerns, comments?
Just one question, and usually when we do this with dog kennels, do we not usually have a vet certificate that the building and this is satisfactory to for the housing of this type of operation?
Through the chair, we used to do that, and then we were advised that's outside of our purview because any distress to animals is under the jurisdiction of the SPCA, so we don't do that anymore.
Okay. The other one was, I was wondering if we should have a condition in there for waste management. We usually do that with dog kennels, and we should have something in there so that we know what they're doing with their waste.
Okay. So a manure management plan to be submitted to the satisfaction of Wheatland County?
Waste management, manure, whatever.
Waste management.
Yeah. That's all I have.
This is not particularly, just a question to administration. The permits are issued on a two-year term. How much time do you spend, like when this 2 years they come back to us, how much time is spent in there, like from the time for them to, so I'm just trying to figure out, like, 2 years doesn't seem to be an awful long time. I'm thinking that if we were spending a lot of time, do you have to go in 6 months before in order to get your permitting all ready to go so that you're ready to go again? Like, so what is it, sort of, what is that time frame?
So we have it so that if you renew prior to the expiry of your permit and there's no changes to the application, it doesn't have to go back to MPC, so it's pretty quick. But if you don't renew prior to the expiry of your permit, then it has to go through the whole process again. Also, there can't be any complaints. So I'm going to say if it has to go back to MPC, probably 6 weeks before the meeting. So it does cut down. Our old bylaw, we used to issue them for a 3-year term and then a 5-year term potentially, but this bylaw, we cut it down so it's in the bylaw that it's only a 2-year term.
Thank you.
Anybody else? You need to see the wording of that for what you asked for, Mr. Armstrong?
I don't need to see the wording as long as it's part of the conditions. The waste management.
So we have a few options in front of us. If anyone so chooses.
I'll move approval
Mr.
as amended
amended.
with X,
Okay.
with the condition of waste management.
Questions on the motion? All in favor? Carried. We'll move on to file number DP 2019-130, illegal Southwest 27, 23, 25 west of the 4th, a home-based business type 3 retreat center. Whenever you're ready.
So this is located about 3.5 miles south of Strathmore on a 40-acre ag general parcel. The proposal is to operate a retreat center within the existing 5,400 square foot dwelling, which includes 4 types of activities such as craft workshops, fitness retreats, food classes, and speaker series. The business will operate on a variable schedule as it is event-based, but arrival times will not occur outside the hours of 9 to 2100 hours, and events will take place only 1 to 2 days per month. A parking area has been provided on site. No deliveries are expected. Food required for an event will be picked up. The operations will not produce noise, odor, or other nuisances. No new buildings or structures are required, and the business will be operated by the resident of the parcel, who will be the only permanent employee. If approved, the applicant would like to operate this retreat center within the limited scope of this application for the 2-year permit. And after the 2 years, the applicant will reassess the business to see if an expansion is desired or necessary, which would include a rezoning of the parcel. So she's kept her numbers low and her event times, like how many events she's having per month, low on purpose so that she can fit into the HBB3. And then she's going to reevaluate how things are going by the end of her term. So we did circulate to Alberta Health Services, and they did make some comments about a food permit being required in water sampling and a septic system evaluation. Staff are recommending that Municipal Planning Commission approve DP 2019-130, subject to conditions noted in Appendix A. So here we have put in here about the Alberta Health Services recommendation, applicant to provide a report to Wheatland County confirming the existing private sewage system can accommodate the extra capacity associated with the proposed business. And again, the permit is issued for a 2-year term expiring October 8th, 2021. Here's the location, south of Strathmore. There's the subject parcel. We've got Glenmore Trail here, 817 here. Here's the dwelling. And the parking area in front here. It is within the CMRB plan area, but it doesn't necessitate a review by the CMRB. It's outside of any ASPs. It was circulated within a mile. There is the existing house where the retreats are proposed to be located, and that was the Alberta Health Services comments. Thank you, that's everything.
Thank you. Any questions?
I'll move that MPC approve DP 2019-130 for a home-based business type 3, subject to the conditions noted in Appendix A.
Thank you. Questions? Call the question. All in favor? Carried. We'll move on to file number DP 2019-133, legal plan 031-1146, Block 4, Lot 5, Speargrass, proposal dwelling secondary suite. We have some late information submitted to us as well for people to review. We can listen to the report and then review that, take some time, and then have some questions. Go ahead.
So this property is zoned Speargrass low density residential. The applicants are proposing to renovate the walkout basement of an existing dwelling in order to accommodate a second living quarters on the property. All renovations will be to the interior of the existing dwelling. So it is a discretionary use in that zone. We did circulate to Vulcan County as the IDP area, internal file review to adjacents, +1, which is what the policy states in our land use bylaw. The Speargrass Community Association was circulated. I tried to circulate. I Googled the Speargrass Community Association, and when I clicked on the link, it brought me to the golf course. So I sent an email to the golf course and asked them to redirect me if there was any other people I should send it to, and so that was, they were circulated. It is the recommendation that MPC approve DP 2019-133 for a secondary suite. Subject to these conditions, development permit is issued solely for a residential suite within the basement of an existing dwelling, defined as a secondary suite. No variances have been granted. Development shall proceed according to Speargrass low density residential. No permanent development shall occur on or over any utility right of way or easement. So here is the subject parcel in the community of Speargrass. And here is a floor plan of the applicant's proposed secondary suite outside of the CMRB. It is within the IDP area with Vulcan, but they had no concerns. And there was the circulations adjacent +1 according to Wheatland County policy, and also to the golf course. There is the dwelling with the walkout basement. And that's everything. Thank you.
Thank you. Was there any other information submitted?
I'm sorry, yes, there was responses to the adjacent circulation and to the from the community. So we did get one letter in support, one letter from the applicant, and one petition, and 11 letters in opposition, which you have in front of you.
Thanks. Yes. So my understanding is everything we have here is all the information. Okay. So we'll take a couple of minutes for everybody to read it because we just got it all this morning. Some of it was in email, but I think this is just a summary of everything. Is that all right with the board? Okay.
You mentioned a petition. Was it a petition or a list of names of people opposed to it or for it? I don't Do we have the petition?
It's in the
here?
package.
It's in this
So
red
it's-
folder?
Yes.
Yeah, they're saying it's a petition. I don't know the difference if it's a petition or a list of names of people opposed, but
Okay.
they're calling it a petition.
Technically, it's not a petition, though, in the MGA. Not sure. It was dark in the combine, I couldn't read it all.
Through the chair, did you say there was a list of residents that were opposed to this, other than these letters?
Is that in the package? It's in there? Diane
Oh,
says
there it
it's
is.
in there.
Keep
Yes.
looking, I might find it. Yeah.
Through the chair, they mentioned Speargrass aerial structure plan. Did, I couldn't find it. I couldn't find where that exists. Do you know?
Through the chair, the area structure plan?
Yeah.
So we do have it on our website.
Oh, I tried looking. I couldn't find it. Okay.
Yes, I believe it's on there.
What in particular do you want to see?
Like what, for it's mainly made for single-family dwellings, right? That's how it was set out?
The area structure plan, when I looked at it, it did say that that area, although the mapping on that area of the area structure plan doesn't match actually what was built out, but it did say that general area was designated for single-family dwellings. However, the land use bylaw, the zone, Speargrass Low Density, was created after that ASP. The ASP is a guiding document, whereas the land use bylaw is regulatory. And it was created after the ASP with that use in it. So whatever transpired between the ASP and the adoption of that zone, creation of that zone, I can't speak to that, but it's in there. So.
I do have another question too. It says here, I believe, in the permit, that it would be, that in order for it to be a secondary suite, that it has to be closed off and you can have a stove there. Is that what a single suite entails? Or secondary suite, sorry.
So through the chair, you're talking about the definition of a secondary suite? So it says a self-contained dwelling unit located within an accessory to a structure. So it is self-contained. It doesn't mean it has to be closed off, but it is
okay.
self-contained. It does say it has to have cooking facilities and food preparation area. It doesn't necessarily mean it's a stove per se. It could be a microwave and a toaster oven and a hot plate. So as far as we could tell, this meets the definition of a secondary suite, saying cooking facilities, and it is self-contained within the dwelling, and it will have its own entrance, but it may be still connected to the upstairs.
Just for my clarification, and so I don't make a mistake if I ever wanted to do something. Airbnb, would I need a permit to rent out on the east side of my house?
Through the chair, not at this point. We don't distinguish Airbnbs. I guess if somebody wanted to rent out their entire dwelling to a leasee, they would have that option, whether it's long-term or just for a week or a weekend. We don't get involved in that at this point. That would require an amendment, I guess, to the land use bylaw if we wanted to go down that road.
Through the chair, if this was allowed as a secondary suite, does it meet all the codes, the fire codes, the electrical and everything else for a secondary suite as opposed to a single dwelling?
Through the chair, the applicant submitted a building permit initially for a renovation. So he's going through the building permit process, and then it was then that we spoke to him regarding whether or not it was a secondary suite. And so he has already applied for a building permit, so everything will be done according to code.
So can you tell me the difference between just renovating your basement and having it listed as a secondary suite? What's the difference?
Through the chair, for this application, what kind of tweaked for us was that he had written in their kitchen. Sometimes people might say they're having a wet bar or something like that, but because he had put kitchen in there, in our opinion, it just triggered the conversation. So we had talked to him about it, and we thought, in our opinion, he should apply for a secondary suite. But we did give him the option to not put kitchen in his drawings and just renovate the basement, or to go either way. So he decided he wanted to leave kitchen in there, although he did mention he may never put an actual stove. He left it as kitchen and wanted to apply for the secondary suite.
Go ahead.
Okay. I don't have a problem with a kitchen going in a basement. Like, maybe that's where his barbecue is, maybe he wants to barbecue, it's personal use.
And it shouldn't be a trigger.
Yeah, if it's a trigger or not. But the secondary suite, that is something that's different, right? That's not currently allowed. They're single detached family dwellings. Anytime I see so much opposition to something that's out of the ordinary, I really have to reflect on, these are the people that live there, these are what they want. So if there's a change, we can go around, visit all your neighbors, that's one way. But maybe they have to change the area structure plan or something and do a more formal process and then just come in and ask for this when so many people are opposed. I like to represent the masses, so.
This is discretionary, right? So it hasn't been rezoned to handle. If it was rezoned, it wouldn't be discretionary anymore. So if the neighbors wanted something like that to be in place, I would think they go through I don't know if it'd be called rezoning, but
Change the land use bylaw, make it
Change-
permitted instead
Yeah.
of a discretionary.
that would
do the
include a
trick.
public hearing, right?
So just to clarify, so the applicant had not, he said initially he didn't intend to rent the suite out. He may in the future. He said he has no intention of moving, as some people thought, but in any case, the land use bylaw as it is now, the zone was already created with it as a discretionary use, and I guess if somebody wanted to amend the land use bylaw, you can make an application to either remove it altogether or put it as a permitted use. You can, there's a fee and you can apply for that if somebody wanted to do that.
Involve a public hearing? Okay.
So sorry, I'm just baffled here. I have a kitchenette in my house. I have a kitchen and a kitchenette. To throw a hot stove in there and a toaster oven, not that hard. And it can easily be, I can put a door in the entryway and have it separated from my house. I have no intention of renting it. I need a secondary dwelling permit.
I guess if you were to do a building permit application and actually call it a kitchen, we're measuring it against this definition. A development consisting of a self-contained dwelling unit within an accessory to a structure, which has cooking facilities, food preparation, sleeping and sanitary facilities. So I guess if the intention is eventually to rent it out, then it would be a secondary suite. This applicant kind of wanted to leave that option open, even though he doesn't intend to rent it out at this moment. He may in the future. So he wanted that legal secondary suite because he thought that was the way to go. And also if
But you don't need that to rent through Airbnb.
not from us.
So if we vote this down, if we don't let this go, he should just go through Airbnb and rent it out for a month, 2 months, 3 months. And then we won't have any say in the matter, right? I mean, to me, government should be staying out of the homes. And if it's your property, you should be able to do with what you want.
Until it affects your neighbors.
Yeah.
That's where the problem is. Go ahead.
Yeah, lots of people in the county rent their homes, right? But they rent the whole thing. Or they might rent half of it if they have a valid zoning to have a secondary suite in it. This one here is discretionary, and that's the difference. You can rent out the whole house, I'm sure. I'm sure somebody in Speargrass rents a house and lives there. That's beside the point. If you rent it privately or Airbnb, it's still a rental unit. But the thing is, if you're renting it and you're still living in it, then that's why this is here today. Sorry about the ding.
No worries.
I find that, I mean, we got the information late, and this does affect a lot more people. This affects a lot of people. It's going to change the look. If you do it for one, you have to do it for everyone. Everyone will have to be able to do it. So it's going to actually take and change Speargrass a bit, like it has that potential. I would really like to table this and get more information. I really would, if everybody's okay with that. I don't feel like I got a lot of information just today, I was wondering if we could table it, if that's possible.
Can I ask, just through the chair to Member Bigger, what additional information would you like us to come back with?
Like, I want more discussion or with council on,
MPC, with MPC.
yeah, with MPC, sorry, that what options we have for like, I can understand what the residents are saying about the parking and how it looks and how, like, so there's been so many changes with Speargrass. Let's do some history. When we built there, we're one of the earlier ones to build. There was an actual plan in place that we had to follow. It was very strict. And if you built at that time, those are the things that they're trying to follow, and people are still trying to, and we're trying to push them to follow. The problem is there's no one there telling us that, or telling people that are building or moving in that because the owner has passed away, this all changed, and there's no one actually looking out for Speargrass anymore. That's how I feel as a resident. And if we need to change something for Speargrass, that we should do it in a conversation with MPC instead of through a permit. And that's why I would like it tabled, for a better discussion.
Kind of similar to what you're saying with Member Kester and Armstrong had said, that if that process was followed, it would give public input as well,
Yeah.
and put it out and give that for the whole, if you're looking for the whole subdivision and to make it all, that would be the fairest way to do that.
I do
So the
believe
fairest
that.
way to do that would be to defeat this, and if someone so choose to change everything look at the whole thing, that would be the fairest way.
Yeah, it was Mr. Goodbrand's dream, or whatever this subdivision was, like, it was actually supposed to be gated at one time. There's been so many changes that maybe we should bring it back to the residents and find out where they want it to go, like, in a public hearing. Let's listen to what they want. And we are having trouble finding people that want to buy there to build there. We're having problem having it growing. Maybe there's something that we can do as a county to help it out. I don't know.
So, just through the chair, another question just to follow up. As you're aware that we will be going through public engagement process with regards to our municipal development plan and probably revisiting the land use bylaw at some point in the next 12 to 18 months, which is too long for this to be tabled, of course. So I'm just thinking we could look at a few options and bring it back to the commission with regards to how we could better accompany this proposal. But we could also maybe do an engagement process with the community in the interim, if that would work, to go out with a few questions predicated on secondary suites and other uses that are permitted or discretionary within the community, and find out what the community ultimately wants. And obviously this is a trigger, and it's getting individuals and ratepayers thinking, so maybe we can do an engagement process and bring back some information there. Would that be sufficient as well?
Yeah, that would be appreciated.
Okay.
Through the chair, personally, I would rather see this brought to finality today, and if it's defeated, it's defeated. If it's carried, it's carried. But then if it's defeated, then when we move forward and do the public engagement, public hearing, whatever it is, this isn't being used as the catalyst for it within that.
So thinking that way, we have a few options before us if anyone wants to put a motion forward.
I'd like to make a motion that Municipal Planning Commission refuse the application for reasons given, and the reasons given.
Is that a negative motion?
That?
Yeah, you can for planning.
Go ahead.
Sorry. The Planning Commission refused the application for reasons given. And for that, you want the reasons given now, okay, sorry, that feel that the information brought forward by residents and the objection of the residents was a big factor in that it's not favored in the community at this time.
Through the chair, so I just want to reiterate that. So a refusal based on the reason that information brought forward by residents that it is not favored in the community, that this proposal is not,
Proposed time, sure.
okay.
One suggestion would be clarification of some of the issues, maybe like parking and things like that need to be addressed. That could be another motion.
A friendly motion to amend that?
Yeah, because there's some questions that, in these documents that they submitted, there's some things that they specifically addressed, so.
So it was parking and did they put it? Evaluation of surrounding homes. Perceived, yeah, perceived. It's some wording.
Still a concern of the citizens, so.
Yeah, yeah, it's still part of the citizens' concerns.
Did you get that, Susan?
Information brought forward by residents that this proposal is not favored in the community, concerns regarding parking
Parking and perceived devaluation of surrounding homes.
Okay.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Any questions on the motion? I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? It's carried. Okay, we'll move on to subdivision applications. We have one today, file number SD 2019-19, legal northeast 112419 west of the 4th. Subdivide plus or minus 178.4 acre parcel from the titled area. Whenever you're ready, sir. Morning. Morning.
Application is a subdivide 78.4 parcel from the 160. Parcel contains a pig barn, which is serviced by private water wells, not one, as well as a sewage plant. Due to the
Wait until they clear out, I guess, for the distraction.
size of the parcel, staff's not recommending the parcel be redesignated, and it will remain ag general. The parcel lies outside of the Calgary metropolitan regional boundary, and generally aligns with the South Saskatchewan regional plan, as well as the Great Regional Growth Management Strategy, the Newell County and Wheatland County Intermunicipal Development Plan, as well as the Municipal Development Plan and the Land Use Bylaw. There are two existing approaches to the parcel currently. The new parcel will be accessed by this access to the north, whereas the remainder parcel will be accessed via Panhandle on the south side via this access. Upon circulation, our Ag Services Department noticed the presence of a wetland that is seasonal, and at times of high water, it may block the access via the Panhandle. Currently, the owners own this parcel to the south as well as the remainder parcel and are using that to access in case this panhandle is flooded. But in case either the remainder or the south parcel changes ownership in the future, staff is proposing a access easement be added around the wetland to avoid disturbance to the wetland or a legal dispute in case either parcel changes ownership. We are not asking for municipal reserve to be taken due to the size and the nature of this being the first subdivision of this quarter section as per the MGA. Currently, as noted, there are 2 private water wells and a sewage lagoon approved on the proposed parcel. Due to this, staff is recommending that MPC approve the subdivision with the conditions noted in Appendix A, including the registration of an access easement on the new parcel. Thanks.
Thank you. Any questions? The one question I had, you already answered, was the access with the wetland, because we had that discussion on another parcel here recently, and I think that's a good idea to have that for future. Go ahead.
In the past, we were always concerned about the lagoon and where they're going to spread it on their fields. Do they have agreements with that, or is the county kind of stepped away from that? Like they have to empty it out and apply the effluent on land to do, keep it functioning, the barn. And their parcel land is not big enough to spread it on, for sure. They have to take it to the neighbors. We're not really that interested in that they have agreements in place, or
Not at all. That's up to
because
the.
agreements can be temporary, to say the least. But in the past, that always was a condition.
Yeah, through the chair, no, we're in this process with our conditions. We haven't gotten into that. I know that was
Okay.
previous, but I could certainly look into that with another division here, but if you'd like to, but
No,
we're not doing that at this
I'm
juncture.
thinking it's guided by AOPA anyway.
Yeah.
What you can spread and not spread. I just had to say it because that always was a condition. We just had it on the CAT facility that they had to have a plan.
The
right?
waste management plan, yes.
Yeah, so. But being this is intensive livestock, AOPA, that's our overall guiding.
That is, yes. And I mean, ultimately, if you'd like to put a condition on this permit, on the Story subdivision application, then, but once you get into the operations, into the permitting process and a development permit or anything like that, we would look at that point.
Yeah, no, I think it's okay, as long as we talked about it and where everyone's aware of it. I'm trying to be fair all the time, but
I don't think it would be a big issue if you put that as a condition, that it follow the conditions or regulations of OPA or environment or whatever the quality is, but then it would pick up at the next stage, and it would be part of the.
But that's the thing, are we gonna have a rule, you have to follow the rules, like it's unnecessary? We've had this discussion multiple times in council, we don't need rules telling us to follow the rules.
We're not sure what it's going to be used for either, because it hasn't been used as a hog barn for some time, I don't think. So
yes. No, I agree with member Jason that I hate putting rules in to directing you to follow a rule. It's already there. I find that wordy, to say the least. For my own edification, I wanted to make sure that was covered off. I'm good with it.
Any other questions?
if there's no more questions, I'll move that council recommends Municipal Planning Commission choose option 1 to approve application in SD 2019-019 with the conditions noted in Appendix A of the planning report.
Any questions? Call it. All in favor? Carried. Opposed? Did you vote?
I voted in
Okay,
favor.
sorry. I just saw you
It
looking.
was very
away.
quick, like.
Okay, fair
getting
enough.
away from me.
Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
So moved. Meeting's adjourned. Carried.
So one's a pig barn, not a pig barn.